There's a rumor circulating right now that, if it were ever proven true, wouldn't just end careers. It would detonate them. And the fact that it exists at all tells you that whatever is happening between Megan Thee Stallion and Glorilla stopped being rap beef a long time ago. But to understand why that rumor even has legs, you need to go back. Because this tension didn't start at a basketball game. It didn't start with album sales. It didn't start with a stylist. It started with a trial that split the industry down the middle, and a betrayal that Megan never fully moved past. During the Tory Lanez case, E.J. King took the stand. At one point, he wasn't just Megan's stylist, he was inside her circle. He had proximity during some of the most important moments of her rise. That kind of access matters more than people realize. But by the time that trial was happening, they were already no longer working together. And what he said on that stand, describing the night, mentioning drinking, detailing mood shifts, is something Megan's supporters felt didn't protect her the way someone close to her should have. Then he posted a video after court with the Law and Order theme playing in the background. Some called it poor timing, others called it exactly what it looked like. Either way, the damage was permanent. Trust had been tested in the most public way possible. And when trust breaks in the spotlight, it doesn't just disappear. It reshapes everything around it. So, when fans noticed, not long after the trial, that Glorilla had started working with E.J. King, the same stylist who had just gone through that very public fallout with Megan, it didn't land like a business decision. It landed like a statement. Stylists don't just dress you. They shape your image, your alignment, your public identity. Choosing someone who had just distanced themselves from one of the biggest female rappers in the game is a choice that people notice. Especially people who were paying attention during the trial. Especially Megan. Now here's what most people skip over when they talk about this situation. Glorilla isn't just any rising artist. She's signed to Yo Gotti's CMG, and Gotti has been vocal about how much he believes in her. Publicly, that's a label boss supporting his artist, but fans started side-eyeing things when the gestures got louder. Luxury gifts, constant public praise, and then the birthday moment that sent timelines into full meltdown. The Maybach truck. Labels gift artists things all the time. It's business, it's celebration, it's branding. But a Maybach isn't subtle. It's not a watch, it's not flowers, it's a statement. And once that image was out, the mentor or more conversation wouldn't die. Old clips resurfaced, interviews got replayed, fans started zooming into body language like it was forensic evidence. Nothing was confirmed, but nothing went away either. And that unresolved tension sitting underneath Glorilla's public image becomes important, very important, once you get to what came next. Then came the courtside moment. Glorilla shows up to support Brandon Ingram. Cameras catch her chanting "My man" with full confidence, and social media eats it up. Cute moment, new relationship glow. Except the game was against the Dallas Mavericks, the same team Klay Thompson plays for. And Klay is Megan's man. Megan wasn't even there. But the connection was enough. Fans immediately started drawing parallels. Megan sitting courtside in her own relationship era, repping her love loudly, that same visible pride. When Glow did something similar, timelines lit up with accusations of copying, of competing, of subtle flexing. Was that fair? Probably not. But perception online doesn't wait for fairness. And then people noticed that E.J. King was spotted with Glow at that same game. Meanwhile, Megan had appeared at a different game with her new stylist. 2 women, 2 courts, 2 teams, 2 stylists, different energy in every direction. It stopped feeling coincidental. It felt staged. And then the numbers dropped. And whatever was simmering quietly became loud. Both Megan and Glorilla released projects around the same window. Different sounds, different rollout strategies, but close enough for comparisons to start immediately. Reports came out that Glow's project edged Megan's by roughly 5,000 copies in the first week. Not a massive gap, not career-ending for either of them, but just enough for the internet to turn it into a scoreboard. 5,000 copies doesn't sound like much until it becomes a headline. And once it became a headline, people stopped talking about the music entirely and started talking about the rivalry. Then a fan tweet appeared calling Megan bitter after being outsold. And instead of scrolling past it, Glow liked it. One tap. That single interaction told the internet everything it needed to run with. Now it wasn't just streaming competition, it was ego. It was veterans versus newcomers. It was a woman who'd earned her position being challenged by someone she once shared a stage with, because Glow had opened for Megan on tour. There were smiles back then. There was support, shared stages, and shared energy. People forget that part. Now, the temperature had dropped completely, and nobody was pretending otherwise. Subtweets started flying, stylists jumped into comment sections. Shade was being thrown without names being attached to any of it. What had been quiet, calculated distance was now public chess. And the internet, fully locked in at this point, started digging deeper. That's when the Gotti rumors got louder. Because now people weren't just asking about the stylist or the sales numbers. They were asking about everything surrounding Glorilla. Her label situation, her personal life, her relationship with the man who built her platform. And those questions, sitting next to a very public new romance with an NBA player, created uncomfortable pressure. If Brandon Ingram is serious about this relationship and the internet is loudly debating what his girlfriend's dynamic really is with her label boss, that's not just background noise. That lands in private, that creates tension in spaces that have nothing to do with rap. And then the rumor dropped, and everything shifted in tone immediately. Whispers started circulating that Megan allegedly had leverage, not a diss track, not a subtweet, something far more serious. An alleged private tape involving Glorilla, Yo Gotti, and another man. Let's be completely clear. No footage has surfaced. Nothing has been verified. This is unconfirmed internet chatter, but the idea alone was enough to send social media into a different kind of spiral. Because if true, that's not rap beef anymore. That's nuclear. Suddenly the question wasn't just who outsold who, it was whether someone was sitting on something that could detonate an entire situation, a career, a relationship, a label dynamic, all at once. Glow went quieter than usual after this circulated. Not gone, but less reactive, less playful. Megan stayed composed publicly, posting as normal, not addressing anything directly. And that specific combination, one side going quieter, the other staying deliberately calm, made the rumor feel heavier than it probably should have. Because here's what rumors like this actually do, even when they're completely false. They plant doubt. They create tension inside real relationships. They make brands nervous. They make executives start watching closely. And for Brandon Ingram specifically, this wasn't content. This was his actual relationship being turned into a public guessing game. Reports suggested he was feeling uneasy about the noise surrounding everything. None of it officially confirmed. No direct statements, just the kind of quiet distancing that fans notice before any explanation ever comes. The parallel to Megan's own past wasn't lost on people either. During the Tory Lanez trial, revelations about prior connections reportedly hit her relationship with partisan Fontaine hard, and that breakup got messy fast. Now, the same kind of external pressure was building around Glorilla's relationship, just from the opposite direction, with a rival rapper somewhere in the background. What you're left with is something that no longer fits neatly into any single category. It started as industry fallout from a trial. It became a stylist decision that felt pointed. It grew into album competition that got personal. It escalated through a courtside moment that wasn't even directed at anyone. It picked up weight from label rumors that never got resolved. And now it sits under the shadow of an unverified rumor that nobody has confirmed, but nobody has fully dismissed either. Two women, both powerful, both actively building, both with real careers and real relationships and real reputations to protect. And somewhere between all of that, a cold war that's being fought entirely through perception, positioning, and deliberate silence. No diss tracks, no explosive sit-down interviews, no direct call-outs, just calculated distance and the very loud, unanswered question of who actually controls the narrative going forward. Because in this industry, controlling the story is the only currency that never depreciates. Streams go up and down, chart positions change weekly. But the narrative, who the public believes, who they root for, who they decide is the villain, that sticks. And right now, neither side has shown their full hand. Which means whatever comes next will define how this entire chapter gets remembered. So tell me, do you think Megan is protecting her position, or do you think Glorilla was never actually paying attention to her in the first place? Drop it below.